this value is, perhaps the best way we can say it, is an experience of life value. It is experience of value as something living rather than merely a quality. Value in man is a certain appropriateness in his own nature. This appropriateness in Zen arises from enlightenment. And this enlightenment, in turn, is an extension from within the individual himself of certain Buddhistic principles or concepts. So we have the Zen point here, which I'll try and explain in this way. The Zen masters, in their contemplative disciplines, are seeking, for example, inevitables. They are seeking the coreness or core factor in a thing. So they gradually take the universe and reduce it from the infinite complexity that we know to an ultimate simplicity. To the Zen, the universe is an extremely simple thing. And they differentiate very clearly between the universe as it is and man creating a whole series of arts, sciences, and philosophies and religions in a desperate effort to interpret the universe. The Zen takes for a simple point that the universe will never be solved by interpretation. The universe must be discovered by direct experience alone. Direct experience of a thing is the full knowledge of that thing. And the full knowledge of that thing is its essential nature. The knowledge of a thing is not its age. You do not understand the tree because you count the tree rings. You do not find out value from any contemplation of the historical nature of a subject. Value is the immediate experience of that subject. And value in Zen consists of a series of qualified experiences. Zen can say, from the tree, I secure certain value. The Zen may also say, the tree of its own nature, contemplating me, would discover an entirely different value. But in our contemplation, all value discovery has moved in one direction. It has always been man discovering the value in other things. He has never paused even to consider the possibility that other things may be contemplating his values. This means that as far as Zen is concerned, all value in nature is only man value. And man looking at a tree finds man value in that tree. But if he is very wise, as the Zen would like to hope he can become, man looking at tree can discover tree value. This is the difference. And it's a very abstract point, but it has a bearing upon the whole problem of value. Namely, what is the value of a thing of itself? Entirely apart from its relationship to man. What is the value of anything if it is divided from man? Does it cease to have value? Would a painting be valuable if there was no such a thing as man? Would a beautiful ceramic be valuable if there was no such a thing as man? Would it be any different whether the bird built its nest in the side of a crag in a rock or built his nest in a magnificent bowl? Would it mean any difference to the bird? Consequently, value in Zen has to be rather carefully thought through, because now we come into a consideration of the fact that value is determined entirely upon the structure of the evaluating force or factor. Almost everything that man creates is valuable only to man, or valuable only in terms of man. Of course, there are occasionally things which he does which affect other things. But for the most part, a man says, this is great, because man made it and man appreciates it. Taoism, the Chinese philosophy which gave rise to so much Zen, estimates the value of a sunset. The sunset is important to man because he has a certain kind of nature. Is the sunset important to anything that is not a man? Is the sunset important to a bee or a flower? Is a sunset a miracle to them, or is a sunset merely something which inevitably takes place around them, of which they may or may not be even aware? So the search for value for man must be in terms of these things which seem extraordinary, remarkable, wonderful, or unique to man himself. Now, if this is true, what is the value of these things? Man himself will die. Man will pass out of the picture. Time will destroy all these things which man has fashioned. In a million years, perhaps only a handful will remain to be hidden in some stratification of the rock. Everything that is beautiful that man makes must ultimately fade away. Therefore, where is value in these things? They are not valuable because they will outlast something else. They are not valuable because the substances that they are composed are actually valuable. They are not valuable because they transcend the limitation of human perspective. So the Zen says to himself, under these conditions, how is anything valuable? And the only answer that he can arrive at conclusively to his own meaning or to his own purpose is that value survives the thing which is valuable. Value contributes something to the sum of a condition or state that is growing and unfolding in nature. If every valuable object on the face of the earth today was swept away and not one remained, the sum of value would not be destroyed. Value would continue. Value would remain because value has contributed constantly to other things. It has contributed continuously to man. Therefore, to destroy the effect of value would have to extinguish man himself. You could not extinguish the things he has and touch value. But if you extinguish the man, then you extinguish both himself and the value. But you cannot extinguish man. And this is a point that Zen takes into very definite consideration. Man can die, but he cannot be destroyed. Man can cease to be here, but man cannot cease to be. Man is not created, according to Zen, therefore he cannot perish. He is not destructible, therefore he cannot be destroyed. He cannot be lost, therefore he cannot be found or redeemed. Man remains. Consequently, all value that has meaning must flow in upon man and add to the continuing enrichment of the total stream of man's psychic existence. This is the only thing that value can do to survive. Value gains its immortality through the survival of the consciousness that is capable of experiencing value. It is true, then, that the great art of the Wei dynasty, 1800 years ago, in China, is mostly gone. There are a few examples in great museums. Some of the most famous works of art have vanished away, and some of the greatest painters and sculptors of all time are names only, and not a single surviving work attributed to them is known. Yet although this has occurred, the value of this work has its own immortality, because the value of the unknown artist of Rome was found and lingers in the contribution of culture which Rome has made to all men. The sculptors of Greece may be forgotten, but without them, the philosophy and civilization of Greece could not have changed the course of human history. So value is continually surviving in the total cultural inheritance of mankind. The items may cease entirely, but the value goes on. In the same way, the individual departing from this world in the Buddhist concept may take with him only certain appreciations, certain conscious experiences which he has known within himself. Among these conscious experiences is the experience of value. In this case, perhaps the experience of value as beauty, the experience of value as friendship, the experience of value as faith. But these values, experienced, go on. The faithful friend also dies, but faithful friendship lives on. Everything that outwardly contributes to value perishes, but that which it has contributed to in man does not perish. So gradually, all value moves into the psychic life of the person to become the final enrichment of his own soul. And the soul of man, having moved through the ages from the dawn of things, has become the total custodian of all value of all time. So one way in which the ancients symbolized the human soul is that it was the vessel of value. And out of value has come morality, ethics, conviction, culture. Has come religion as we know it, art, music, literature, and even to a certain degree, industry, arts and crafts as we know them today. The great building that rises as a magnificent example of architecture is an embodiment of the entire motion of human value. The person growing day by day in his own understanding, moving along the course between ignorance and wisdom, even in the course of one simple lifetime, is moving continuously through a chemistry of value which he inherits, which has come to him, which is innate to him. Value which influences everything that he sees and everything that he touches. And this value is the legacy of all good. Just as knowledge has been built upon the most primitive foundations, and the first thoughts of man have made possible the present thinking of man. The first simple device lies behind every invention, every creativity of human consciousness. So behind man's resolution to become better, to grow, to unfold the natural potentials of his own entity, behind this pressure is value. Value moving him into the gradual fulfillment of itself. And into this, as the Zen points out, has moved the entire heritage of the race. Now, to some persons, value, in the term of this great inheritance, is more locked than it is in other persons. But it is also true that it is this compound value, this flowing of all streams into each of us, a mystery in itself, yet one that we cannot deny because we can experience it daily. This flowing of all streams into each. And how does it happen? The Mendelian law is a simple statement, but it still is not an explanation. It does not reveal to us the full machinery that makes this possible. But if it is so possible that we may transmit almost any type of physical characteristic, it is also possible that we may transmit psychic characteristics. We know that the worrier may come from a family of worriers. We know that selfishness is intensified in families and may therefore become an outstanding deficiency of character for several generations. But there is more to it even than this. We may inherit with the great traditional stream of our life the culture of our life, the values which have dominated the concepts of all who have gone before us. But there is also this Zen inheritance from self, the inheritance from our own previousness, the inheritance from the lives that have preceded this one in the unfolding of our own experience. If we have lived as conscious beings through all of the experience of history, we have lived through every level of value. And this value has been gradually stored within ourselves